Welcome, welcome. It's Woohoo Wednesday. Once again, it is January 12th, 2022. And every Wednesday we celebrate what is good. What are the good things happening in the world so that we can change our focus from looking for the problems to celebrating what those little victories, big victories, whatever they are. So welcome wherever you are watching this. I'd love it if you pop a comment into the chat or whatever you have available to you. We stream on lots of different places every week. Love to know if you're here, and if you're watching this recorded, put a comment in too so I know you were here. What are you celebrating today? What's your small victory? What are you putting out into the world that's positive? My celebration today, my Woohoo Wednesday, is that I am actually getting some good quality sleep lately. And I don't think I'm alone in the idea that that's not always an easy thing to do. It's not always easy to get the sleep we need. And sleep is a big part of managing our stress, making sure we stay healthy, and pretty much everybody needs about 7 hours a night in order to be healthy and our brain to work well and all of that. And interestingly, a while back there was a study that showed that if over 2 weeks you are getting less than 6 hours per night over those 2 weeks, your cognitive abilities and your reaction abilities are the same as if you missed 2 full nights of sleep, which is interesting. I think I had deprived myself as we headed into the holidays of a lot of sleep. And one of the things that I was able to do in that time between Christmas and New Year's is actually make sleep a priority and caught up a bit. And now I've made some real priority on getting more sleep, more good quality sleep, trying at least for those 7 hours every night. Not perfect about it. As you know, it's not about perfection. It's about moving in the right direction. So I'm moving in the right direction of sleep. So why is that little bit of sleep, the difference between 6 hours and 7 hours, makes such a difference? One of the ways that lack of sleep affects us is it creates, now medical people are going to go, that's not exactly it. We're going to use a phrase to describe it. It makes sludge in your blood vessels. The plaque that we hear about in heart disease happens when we don't allow that cortisol to come out of our bodies when it's supposed to. Sleep is the most efficient way to process cortisol out of our bodies. And in fact, when I speak with to audiences, one of the things that I often talk about is the idea that sleep is a magic ingredient that makes everything else work. You can eat right, you can exercise, you can do all of the things that you're supposed to, but if you're not getting that good quality sleep, it just doesn't work as well. So how do you know if you're getting enough sleep and enough good quality sleep? Because you might be in bed for 9 hours, but maybe you're only getting 5 hours of sleep. Well, you can have a watch that monitors those sort of things, or you can use some questions to ask yourself to see if you're exhibiting symptoms of not having enough sleep. And so I have some questions in the book that I'm going to share with you. Here are some things to consider when you're experiencing some of the following. If you're experiencing this, you may be not getting enough sleep. Do you find your mind wandering when you're reading something not all that engaging or small? Maybe it's a blog article or something that you need to attend to a little bit, but it's not super engaging. So is your mind wandering? Like you started reading and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, what happened there? Do you have trouble focusing your eyes when you're driving? Might be a sign. Do you hit the snooze button several times in the morning, having a hard time getting out of bed? Do you feel like the volume is turned up on your emotions? That is always a big sign for me. If I'm feeling like I'm getting angry at things that typically wouldn't make me angry, if I'm reacting to things that would typically not make me that sad, but now I'm really affected by them, could be sleep. Do you forget appointments or important dates, or feel like you are constantly having to remind yourself of all of those things? Have multiple systems set up to make sure that you stay on track? Do you carry extra weight around the middle no matter what you do? I tell you what, as much as I would like this not to be true, again, you can do all the right things. You can exercise, you can eat right, but if you're not getting enough sleep, that cortisol makes us keep fat around our middles, and that is mean. It's just mean. And then finally, do you doze off while you're working on the computer or watching TV? Some people will say, well, I'm just bored. Bored people fidget. Tired people doze off. So if you're experiencing any of those, it's maybe time to look at getting a little more sleep. I can't leave you with just that information. Here's some 3 tips to get a little more sleep. The first one is to disconnect from the source of stress or from things that are very stimulating as you get closer, at like that hour before bed. If you are checking email the hour before you go to bed, your brain is processing all of that. Even though you're saying, oh, I'm just going to go through and just do a little triage. Your brain starts working on that. It saw the email about the project you were working on, and now you're thinking about it. Even if you don't want to think about it, you're thinking about it. So what can you do to disconnect? Obviously, you could just not do it, whether it's watching the news or consuming things that make that brain go on overdrive, thinking about all these things, especially if they're uncertain. So not allow that in, but also doing activities that would allow you to disconnect. So whether this is where the Border Collie Iguana stress recovery personality comes in. And I'm going to pop that link so you could take that in case you're wondering if you're a Border Collie or an iguana. Some people, if you're an iguana, need that quiet, contemplative time to disconnect from what is causing them stress. That's why yoga and meditation and those sort of things work very well. Other people may need to be very occupied in order to disconnect. If reading, for example, occupies you so that you aren't thinking about that project, those emails, whatever it is, that's a good strategy to read before bed. You might consider, though, how much blue light is coming towards you. I read on my iPad using the Kindle app. I have changed the background of the page to black, and the letters are white, but then I dim it down so I'm not getting a lot of blue or white light towards me, and that has made a big difference in terms of my ability to drift off to sleep and sleep well. So that's one, disconnect from what's causing you stress. The next one is to change your breath. Changing your breath is a signal to your body to let that cortisol go. It's also a signal to just sort of ease down into the evening. Again, going back to the changing your breathing through meditation or yoga or some sort of stretching or something like that, that's a really wonderful way, whether you're going to do sit-ups before you go to sleep, something that changes your breath so that you can let that cortisol come out of your body and get to sleep, because a high cortisol level makes it very difficult for us to get to sleep. Watching a funny video, doing that, anything that changes your breath. Singing, if you're a showerer before you go to bed, sing in the shower. That can make a difference as well. And then the last one is changing your view. This could be, what can you do to change your sleep environment to encourage more sleep, whether that's shifting around your furniture or changing your bed linens or changing how much light you have or changing the temperature. can signal to your body that it's time to move into a different phase. Also, changing your view in terms of not being in your bed until it's time to go to bed. If you work in bed and don't make the definition between when it's work time and busy time and going to bed time, it's hard for your body to figure it out. So give it a chance to do that. And the other way to change our view is to focus on something positive. Again, we're always looking for the problems to solve. If you can change your view to really celebrating something positive, that's why a gratitude journal works very well. It's why the woohoo coming full circle. If you do your woohoos before you go to bed, like today was a good day because of woohoo, that helps change your view to be more positive. Using those 3 strategies, I think you'll be able to get a better night's sleep. But of course, if you're having trouble sleeping and it's been over 2 weeks, it might be time to talk to a professional who can help you address that, because we don't want to be impaired cognitively or our reactions. So that's my woohoo today. Let's get some sleep. Woohoo! I hope that you enjoyed some of those strategies. Love to hear what's working for you and what your woohoo is for today. You can visit woohoowednesday.com, leave a comment there. You can find us live on Facebook at woohoowednesday.live and live on YouTube, along with all the recordings at Woohoo Wednesday videos. See you next week.